Okay, Garfield, before you leave, where are you going?
He going right there to take it and leave.
Good talk. You can't talk loud?
Okay. No. All right. So the only problem is I do want to draw a reference because we're scholars, right? The book is Book Charts, Journey from African American to Hebrew Israelites, to his Hebrew Israelite, and it is a thin description, ethnography, and the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem by John L. Jackson Jr., Harvard University Press, pages roughly, 404, most likely is the page. The issue is the probably oldest person that is written with a talking about a Hebrew tradition is Equianus, right? And so Equianus, and so the Hebrews will in fact have I have to be honest, scholar. They will have an argument about African Hebrew traditions because the book is peer reviewed and it is oral history. Well, the person that we need to talk about is Equianus, and I would say that what they say is basically the Hebrew is part of a long tradition of Africans in the Americas who have speculated both orally and in print about their links to ancient Israelites. In his celebrated 1789 slave narrative, Oluda Equiano describes certain Hebraic customs that he said were practiced by his native people in West Africa, among them ritual circumcision. So
yeah, he read something about some root.
So the issue is, the oldest person that we have talking about Hebrew traditions is Equianus, and that is in his 1789 slave narrative.
Can I respond to you when you're done?
Okay.
Your Dagger Squad University topic.
That's fine. So I'm just letting the
What's the time?
1789.
All right. Cool.
So no, wait 1 second. So.
Glad you came here.
Okay, here, respond. That's how you do it? You want?
First of all, Reggie, I don't want you ever to mention Oleander Equiano, by the way. Do you know that Oleander Equiano signed up and said that he was born in South Carolina? It's on record. He actually said that. Do you know that he said he was born in Igbo land and changed his name from Gustavo Vassa late so that the books, if you look at the England and the abolitionist movement, Paul Coffey and them, a matter of fact, Oleander Equiano, aka Gustavo Vassa, is one of the top 5 black folks that ever came over on a slave ship. If he came over on a slave ship. Because of what he did, he started the abolitionist movement to go back to Africa. He was the one that helped start it with Paul Coffey and all of them. He's a major part. He's a major player. But as far as returning and moving back to Africa, but the thing. But hold on. Let's deal with it. He writes in his chapter 2, right? He talks about his father and scarification. You know, the Igbos have a tradition of scarification, right? The problem with the whole Hebrew claim, he never claimed to be a Hebrew. What he was saying is that they did things similar to what the Hebrews did, like circumcision. Now, circumcision for the Igbos, guess when they get circumcised? When you're 15, 16, 2, 5, 8. They even circumcise women, which has nothing to do with the Hebrew culture. But let me go back 450 BC and say something regarding this. When Herodotus went to the Syria-Palestine area, which covers.
And he's a source.
Yes, hold on. Let me finish, Reggie. Come on, Reggie. Come on, let me finish. He spoke about the Syria-Palestinian area where he said he interviewed the residents of the area and they said they got circumcision. So if the Jews or the Israelites did come from there, they said they got it from the Ethiopians and the Egyptians. If you look, like I said Saturday, I said that when did Abraham get circumcised? Was it before he went to Egypt, according to the story, or after? He got circumcised after he went to Egypt. So we're seeing a pattern with the Hebrews. Whenever they got contacts, hold on, brother. Whenever they contact Africa, they get circumcision. So circumcision is the only claim that they have, but the Igbos have a tradition of circumcising females. So that's a major difference. They circumcise at any age. Now, as far as a Hebrew, we got to be careful too, because because these modern day Igbos, Igbo land have over 90 million people, right? And 3,000 out of the 9 million claim that they are Hebrews. They don't claim they're Hebrew Israelites. They claim that they are Hebrews and they follow Orthodox Hebrewisms. And they're converts. Now we can, if you want me to trace it, because me and Rob Bond did a whole thing on this, where we know where the Igbo culture is shown in Cuba, Haiti, and Jamaica. 50% of the Igbos actually in the world that came across in the slave trade, 50% came to Jamaica. So you're talking about Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba, right? Now, whenever you talk about Oleander Equiano, you're gonna have to, yeah, I see the green light right there. So you're gonna have to talk about his history and the fact that he documented in South Carolina on the ships that he was on. There's a documented file, a primary, where the brother was named Gustavo Vasa, which is a name he also copied, by the way. But I'm not knocking the brother because he did so much work. But the thing is, once you start investigating his background, you start to learn why he wrote that he's from Igbo land and why he wrote those things and why. Because you know what? In those days, they had no black folks who documented our history. So to get that was the goal. There was other brothers who claimed they were Igbo and from Africa, because at that time period, that's why I say he's one of the most important, because he's the first one. And you studied reparations, you got to study the D part of Oleander Equiano.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay, thank you back for the mic. Okay, so my whole point is that Equianus talked about his Hebraic traditions.
Never said that. Right?
Wait.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Similarities. Let's
Okay.
quote the book correctly.
Okay.
The book says similarities.
So let me finish.
He said that.
Can I finish? Here's the thing.
He found
Okay.
similarities. We gotta be clear.
Brother. Okay.
Go ahead, man.
No, I don't like to be. I just asked for the mic. He said no, so now I have the mic. So, sometimes, we have to do honest scholarship. So sometimes we have to cite the references. We can draw the conclusions by the references. We were not there, right? The fact of the matter is that the Hebraic traditions was in Morocco during the Arab slave trade.
I have no doubt about that.
Okay, so
100%.
So we don't have to go as far. We don't have to go any farther than the formations of Morocco, and we don't have to go any further than beginning with roughly Al-Misor and onward, and close to by, to know that Hebraic traditions were in there because of the that's exactly right.
Who follow the Hebrew faith?
So if it's in the area, right, and it's spreading, and then also what is spreading is the slave trade is spreading, and Arabism is spreading, right? And we also do know from an earlier period, Queen Kahina and others were of the Hebraic tradition.
New information came out. That's not true. But we talk about that another time.
Okay, so what we can do is, as honest scholars, assess the information, and then we use criteria to rule out the points, right? But what we cannot do is we cannot discard the information to make our points. That makes us no better than everyone else, right? So I have training from Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Dr. John Henry Clark.
Of course.
We look at information being factual, conceptual, general, theoretical, practical, spiritual. That's the rubrics that we use, right? We use concepts, analyses, processes, and systems, right? We do surveys of literature, right? Surveys of literature, new findings, rule out information.
Yes, sir.
My point is, again, is that Equianus, who actually was Dr. Jahi Issa, said to me when you were talking the other day that he needs to either discredit Equianus or talk about the survey of literature. But a man has a right from his oral traditions to say where he came from, reason wrong or right. Now the other issue is, what do the other people actually say? All I added was the fact that we do know, and you admitted, that the Hebrew tradition was inside the salt trading. They were the financiers, the supporters of the Moroccan Empire, and that information spread, and I gave another source. So let's just let's not do what they do. Let's do